Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah, the blind to the apostles of GMS. This is I'm now Allah coming at you with the video. And this video I'm going to be focusing on the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 5. In fact, I'm gonna start from verse, let me see, I'm gonna start from verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. So it's telling you in the last days, perilous times shall come. We're in the last days, and we're living in perilous times. Look at the word perilous.
Strong's G 5467. Chalipas. Chalipas.
Chalipas. And it says hard to do, to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. So perilous means hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, or savage. Savage times shall come in the last days. We're in the last days now. And an example of that is you got this thing, the coronavirus, that's going on, which is spreading. And it's going to keep spreading, especially when they go into the summertime. Okay? Perilous times shall come. As a matter of fact, I was in Brooklyn the other day, and you had a bunch of people out there protesting. You had black people, white people, like in a very large circle. Probably could be maybe 50. Nah, not like 50. Probably maybe like 100 some odd people, man. Saying 50 is nice. Maybe that side that I seen was 50, but it was over 100. It had to be anywhere between 80, 90 to maybe like 100, 120 people. There was a lot of people there, and they was out there protesting against the police. In regards to police brutality. I couldn't hear everything they were saying, but they were talking about who protects us and things like that. So they're referencing police. And I was just walking down the street, and there was a bunch of cop cars, a bunch of vans driving down the street in high speed. And you see the cops setting up their posts, setting up certain areas where, they were waiting so that when they finally ran down to the people, when they would go and they was, scatter, they'll be able to grab them up and lock them up. That's what it was that they were doing. So we're in perilous times. People are uprising against the government. And all it's going to do is going to get worse. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemous. So people are lovers of their own selves. They're prideful. They're prideful. They're covetous. They desire things that are not theirs. They're boasters. They boast in pride. They brag. They're braggadocious. They're proud, blasphemous. When you blaspheme, you're speaking against a deity. In this case, you're speaking against the Most High and His Son. Yahweh is the Father, Yahweh Shah is the Son, and their word, the scriptures. Okay? It said, disobedient to parents. Right. Disobedience to parents. They're actual parents, but they're spiritual fathers, they're spiritual parents. Those that taught them in this knowledge, this word. Unthankful and unholy, right? Being unthankful, being unholy. A person that's unthankful is a person that don't regard the kind gestures that you showed them, and unholy. Without natural affection, truce breakers, right? Having no natural affection, that's self-explanatory. No affection towards others. Truce breakers, which is made this is not only referencing people in the truth, but this is talking about globally, because perilous times will come around the world. And these are the reasons why. These are not just pertaining people that's claiming to be in the truth that's going to be acting this way. These people all around the world. Without natural affection. You see that now. The world that we live in is a world that's based upon materialism. Everybody loves materials. Everybody loves objects. Materialism is the worship of an object. Okay? That's what materialism really is. It's just the worship of an object. The belief that objects have greater value than what they really have. Truce breaker. People breaking truces, breaking promises. When you come to the truth, you basically take an oath to follow the Lord. That's why when you pull out of this truth, guess what? You're done. You can't come back. It'll tell you that in the book of Hebrews, the 6th chapter. Having once tasted the heavenly gift, it speaks about that. False accusers, that's very simple. Accuse people falsely. And you see that going around a lot with these false rape charges. But false accusers reference those that are, in this truth, that are being accused by people to conduct themselves in a manner that they all conducted themselves in. And that happened with the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul was being called a liar, you know, saying that he was being told that what he was saying wasn't true. And the word incontinent here says, see the word incontinent. It says, let's see, incontinent. Incontinence is a lack of control. Sometimes that means that you can't help but pee your pants, but that's an example. So incontinent means a lack of control. So I kept seeing urinary incontinence. So incontinence means lack of control. And that's what you see. You see people all over social media. They lack control. Look how they conduct themselves. We live in look at society. We live in a hypersexualized society. Everything you see is sex. Television shows, movies, music, children's cartoons, advertisements. People have a lack of control. We live in a society that has declined in morals, so that's a sign that we're in the last days. Fierce, that's very simple, violent. Despisers of those that are good. So people are fierce. You have all the different kinds of wars and rumors of wars, and despisers of those that are good. The despisers that are good, which hold the people in this truth, the elect of the nation Israel. Traitors, very simple, a person that betrays someone. Heady, someone that's high-minded, very simple, high-minded. So heady, the person that's heady, a person that goes ahead of themselves. Like you getting ahead of yourself. This person is high-minded, someone that's prideful. High-minded, same thing. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High. People love pleasures more than love the Most High. You know? Because we live in a world that's based upon hedonism. The belief that pleasure is the greatest good. Okay? You can look into hedonism if you want. If you want, you can look more into it. It goes a little deeper than that. But I'll just referencing that aspect of it. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Right, these people have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. I mean, they may appear to be godly, but they deny the power thereof. They deny the Father. They deny the Most High. They deny His Son. The Most High's name is Yahweh, and His Son's name is Yahweh Shai. So they may appear godly, but they deny the power thereof. Okay? Like the people in these churches, in some people's mind, they appear godly. They got suits on, they got shaven faces and bald heads, which is against the scripture. You got people out there that claim to be prophets, claim to be Israelites, prophets of the Lord, men of the Lord. They may have big beards and these illustrious garments and speak with a powerful voice. In some people's eyes, they have a form of godliness. They have a form. Yeah, they may appear to be godly, but they deny the power of the God. I mean, they deny the Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Why? Because they teach falsehood in the scripture. The same people in the churches do. They teach you that the Most High and His Son are white. The color don't matter. They can't. The Most High love everybody. His Son died for everybody. Anybody can make it. You know, nobody knows who the Israelites are. You don't got to keep the laws. You got people out there that's speaking ill against us. GMS, Great Millstone, saying that we're faith-based Israelites, as if that's a bad thing. You speaking ill of us like that's a bad thing. But that's actually a right thing. That's a righteous thing. It's supposed to be based upon faith. This thing is based upon faith. It tells you that in Galatians 3rd chapter. In Hebrews 11 chapter tells you faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's Hebrews 11 chapter. Okay? It says, from such turn away. You got to turn away from people like that, man. God like that you got to turn away from. You're not righteous. You know? You're supposed to turn yourself away from them. You're supposed to distance yourself from their company. That's something that you're supposed to do. Okay? It says, for of this sort are they which keep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins. So those kind of people creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, meaning they creep in the house and lead captive silly women laden with sins. I mean, they go into to them and they teach them lies. And you look at these churches, what do you see? Churches are filled with women. They led captive, meaning their minds are led captive. Led captive silly women or foolish women, laden with sins or covered in sins, carried about in sin, led away with divers lust. Even in these so-called churches, what are they doing? They're sleeping with the wives of members of their congregations, all manners of wickedness, man. And these things been going on for a long time. But you know they're happening more now, especially when we live in a sex era, an era that promotes sex. So you know it's happening far more now than ever. We live in an era where adultery is something that's glorified, something that's pedestalized. Adultery is something that's looked at as is something that you want to achieve in this world, which that's a sin according to the Bible. You read about that in the book of Leviticus. Okay? The 18th chapter, the 20th chapter. Okay? Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, and that's them. They're ever learning, but they're never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. They may read the Bible, they may know what a couple of scriptures mean. They may learn how to quote a scripture, but they don't come to the knowledge of the truth because they don't understand the true essence or the true being of the scripture. People are now, they read the book of John 3:16, they still think John 3:16 literally mean world, like it's in the whole world. The word there for world in the Greek is cosmos, which means a certain segment, an orderly arrangement. Okay? That's what it means. So it says, for God so loved the world, means for God so loved a certain segment. When you look into the sky, you see a multitude of stars in the cosmos. But what do you see? You have different constellations, certain stars, or a certain cosmos, a certain segment of stars, a certain cosmos of stars makes up a certain star constellation. So guess what? It's talking about a certain segment. The word cosmos for word world means a certain segment or group or orderly arrangement. You look in the sky, you see a multitude of stars, but among the multitude of stars, a certain cosmos or a certain segment of stars or a certain world of stars makes a certain what? Star constellation. I'm using it as an example to show you that the word cosmos, the word world there is cosmos. It don't literally mean the whole world. Alright? It don't literally mean that. Like if I say the sports world is one world, the music world is another world. You understand? So with that, I'm going to close. I just wanted to hit that brief topic, There's other scripts I wanted to get to, but I'll probably make another show, do that maybe. So with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say, oh, praise the How about Shah, the Blonde Pastor GMS. I hope everyone's at the Shalom.